I say welcome back, guys, and today's topic is how to speak. I will say now that speaking is everything in life, and those people who can speak can lead, and they can be the ones who can really help give you ideas, such as I can, and also no matter what, that you realize that those people who communicate are greatness in intent. I mean, they're people who can look inside. I mean, they're people who can really help prosper you and become abundant more themselves, because you have to understand that communication is key to everything. And those people who write more and have more comprehension skills are able to really find the golden eggs in what they're saying and also be able to grow from it, because it's really about changing your communication, and it's never really about competition with anybody. You have to understand that those people who compete are people who are losers, and in the long term, I promise you, they fall and they get old and they have no money and they have no business, and they start working a 9-to-5 job after their sports careers. And you understand? You have to understand that no matter what, that those people who are really competing in terms of poker and gambling, and they're trying to play against the odds, I promise you that you never go against the odds. You understand? Because guess what? You only overcome the odds. You understand? So you have to be a person who's really overcoming the odds, and the only way to do it is to never gamble and to never do entertainment, because that's the way to speak in life. You understand? Because every step you take and every action you make is going to be a stepping stone, or as something called in terms of regret. So never be a person who's regretting anything. Be a person who is really stepping forward in a way that you're abbreviating a positive term, and you're never being negative. You have to say I'm negative. You have to say I'm not negative. You have to understand that no matter what, you be a person who's really, let's say, foundational in what you're doing, and you have to write all day long, because in my daily life, I make sure to, no matter what, in my daily life, I must write. I must write in my daily life. I must be a person who's really better than my words. I'm always better than my words. I'm always better than what I say. Why? Because that's the way to communicate. You have to understand the best way to communicate is to speak more and more, so you understand your communication style. You have to understand that those people who are communicating more are really learning more, because it's only in the act of communicating that you can learn how to communicate. And you have to communicate more. So if you cannot do it on a camera, and if you cannot do it in a video such as this, or if you cannot do it in a podcast, you have to do it inside your journal. And you have to write a book. You have to write your journal. You have to understand that your journal is your book. So in my life, I don't care about books. I care about audio tapes and videos, and also my journal. I don't care about creating audiobooks anymore and all that. I do have an audiobook, although it's got my video in it. And I realize I do care about audiobooks, although I care about them in a way that you can see me only. You understand? So I do audiobooks in this nature. I make sure no matter what, that I can always speak much more than yesterday, because speaking is an art form, and those people who can use it can also make sure that they can help people with it. And make sure that you really understand that you never abuse life. You never abuse anything. You never say to abuse it. You never use and abuse. You understand? What you do is you use and you help. You understand? You have to rhythm your words in a better way. You have to figure out poetry, and you have to read poetry. And you have to understand that no matter what, that in order for me to build my communication skills, I had to write 23,000 quotes. I had to write 2 years of journaling, which is about 50,000 words or something like that in a year. And I realized that I can do far more than that. And it's really, no matter what, that I realize that you guys have to realize that you're just doing something far more greater than what you are. I realized that in my entirety of what I wrote inside of my journal has been 2 years of equity, which is 30,000 characters times 720. I mean, and then you can realize how many words that is. You'll understand that no matter what, I realized that I did interpret how much I wrote in terms of my journal. I wrote around 300 journals in the past year. And guys, I've been really sticking to it, and I've been really, let's say, doing a number on a better way. So I've been doing my numbers much better. And why? Because I can plan it. And that's how to speak. You have to understand that speaking is an art form, and those people who can use it can make sure that they can always learn from it. You need to learn so you can grow. So you push your mindset to grow, you push yourself to grow, You push yourself to learn and study, and you have to be on your own as an entrepreneur, and you have to realize that as you move your way up in the trends and inside the success theory, you understand that people will drop off. And why will people drop off? Because you make them drop off. You understand that you'll leave. You'll leave them, and I promise you they'll never contact you again. I promise you that once you leave them, I promise you that you never go and speak to them anymore, because you understand that they have nothing to give you. I promise you that you never even expect it from them. You'll be understanding much greater than them, because they're still in the crowd and you're a person who's left the crowd. And because you left the crowd, you're more successful. So what's going to happen is they're going to talk about you, and they're going to be positive about you and negative about you. And what you need to do is you just go and be an inspiration, and you forget the past. I mean, forget all your habits. I mean, if you do pornography and masturbation from the past, you have to let go, because you never started off doing that. So what happened? I mean, the people around you made you do it. You understand? So you have to understand, you believe the people around you, so you started doing that. And guess what? You have to overcome it. You have to overcome sugar. You have to overcome meat. You have to overcome a lot of natural barriers. You have to come in a way that you overcome. You understand? You never do anything dirty. You never speak dirty. You never be a person who is a person of negativity. You be in solitude and you grace God. You grace God in a way that you're growing. You find ways to grow. I promise you, God would never come to you unless you go to God. I promise you, there are many people seeking God, although they're helpless. I promise you, there are people who need Jesus, although they never follow Jesus. I promise you, they never follow Jesus, and they're really going the other way, and they're praying for Jesus. You have to understand that no matter what, you go towards Jesus, and make sure no matter what that you pray in a way that is going to help grow you, because nobody can help you grow, and only speaking can. I promise you, the better you speak though, the better you are. I have people over there right now in some other institute over there, and it's around nighttime now and evening. You understand that they are partying and they are drinking, and there's music going on somewhere over there. You understand that no matter what happens, that you understand that I'm not over there. Why? Because I'm here doing this video, and I don't care about crowds. I don't care about women in a nightclub. You understand? Because those women, I don't care about them. I mean, they're nobodies to me. And you understand that why I say that? I say that because I still help and I still grow, and I realize that you understand that those type of women never go for me. And why? Because they believe they need a person of alcohol and drugs to have a good time. You understand? So I never care. I mean, at the moment, I promise you that no woman has went for me in my life, because guess what? I'm still single. You understand? So I'm 28, although I'm number one in my heart, and although I am a person who puts Jesus number one. And you understand that when I put Jesus number one, I'm also number one, and I'm equal with Jesus. So I'm following Jesus all the time, and I just have to make sure I'm always speaking Jesus, because that's my path. I realize that I'm not my path. I realize that I'm only in Jesus' path. And so you need to be a person who's really speaking your intent and living it. I promise you that people who can speak can do anything. I promise you that the people who can speak metaphors and alliterations and similes, and the people who can perpetrate a better way. I mean, they can flip a gold mine into a wisdom mine. You understand? I mean, they're magicians, and you need to be a person around them. You need to be a person who's really giving value in a way that is going to help benefit you. So find somewhere to go in terms of life, and it's really right here that you need to go, and you really live in this moment, because that's the only way to live. And you go inside and you be with yourself all day long, because that's your schedule. Your schedule is you, and how are you going to better your life? Because you understand that everything outside of you will never help you. And I promise you, the money you're getting, I promise you, will never help you unless you're working it in a better way. So you need to find better ways of investing your money. You need to track your money, so get yourself the spending tracker. It's called I promise you, it's called the spending tracker. I although call it the investment tracker and conscious knowledge investor, because I need to be conscious of what I need to input in my life on a daily basis in terms of my finances. I just went to Woolworths here in Australia, and I got myself food for 2 days, and it's really for 1 day, although I realized no matter what that I have some food now. And because of that, I usually shop for 2 days. I usually shop now actually for 1 day, because now it's much more making sense for me to do so as I have to go. And you have to understand that those people who are doing everything one step at a time are only thinking in the moment. You have to understand you never think about the past and future. You think about what are you going to do now to build your life. And that's the only aspect of life that you need to think about. And the thinking in it is to think in the moment, because that way you have no thinking. So how do you think about in the moment? You understand that when you're thinking about in the moment, you're really writing down all your thoughts and you're educating something. I mean, go and express your mind much more. I mean, your mind is something that can help you to become a better person when you're a person working your mind. So work your mind in a way that's going to help you. I need you to realize that when you say so, I need you to realize that you can really speak more in terms of your equity and what you have. So be a person who is just really confident in front of the camera, and realize that your life is going to be beautiful when you're compassionate. I promise you, my life is so much more than yesterday because I work this moment. I'm alone. I've been alone for 1 year and 2 months now. I mean, I've been alone all my life. You understand? I've been alone all my life, although I've been lied to. I've been lied to that people have my back. I promise you, many people have said, I've got your back. I promise you, they never had my back. I promise you, they stabbed me in the back. I promise you, there are people who chit-chat behind my back. You understand? So there are people who are fake in your community, and guess what? You need to set yourself apart, and you need to realize that it's never a competition, although you understand that if you're a billionaire, you're never going to hang around with middle class people. You understand? You have to understand that when you become a trillionaire, and you have all this money, and they are still middle class, and they have less than $100,000, and you have $1 trillion, I promise you they'll never be around you. I understand that no matter what, you'll never be around them, because why would you be around them when you have other trillionaires next door? You understand? So you have to be a person who's really going to make the move, and you need to make it now. And now is the best time. And if you're not ready to make it now, it means you're dependent on something. You may be dependent on your parents. You may be dependent on your husband or wife. You may be dependent that your kids are in a certain area, and if you leave, it means that you leave your kids. So you have to understand that what's going to happen is you need to figure it out. You understand? I'll give you the knocks off. You understand that you need to figure it out yourself, because I promise you that nobody knows your life better than you. Although I will help you with some skills, and I promise you, in the case of where children are, I would have to put myself in those shoes and say I did have children. I promise you, I have 5 children in Sydney, and I'm 40 years young, and I have a 9-to-5 job, and I'm divorcing. I'm not divorcing anything. I'm never in the divorcement. I'm never a person who divorces. And say that my wife divorced me, for example. I then would make sure, no matter what, to start educating myself from that moment. I'd get some mentors, I'd go online, and I'd start digging into whatever I can. I mean, I'd go be passionate about something. I realized that for the next 5 years, I would have to read. I would have to read, and I would have to study, because it's going to take at least 5 years for me to even get anywhere. Understand? So you have to understand that if you're a person who needs a 9-to-5 job in that space of time where you need to be around your kids and also work a 9-to-5 job and live your life, you understand that you start educating yourself and start being passionate about something and do it for free. I promise you, do it for free, and that way you have a side hustle. I promise you that this is a side hustle that I have, although this is my full-time hustle now. Understand? I never have to work a 9-to-5 job. I have no kids. I have no wife. I now am, although I never have to stick to any place. So I figured that out young. Although, guess what? I'm still figuring out. I'm figuring out more and more. I've become aware more so than other people about it. I am a person who delays women. I'm a person who delays kids. I mean, I said to myself the other day, in the moment, I said to myself, I'll leverage the body mass I have to make sure I succeed. So I mean that I'll take away all the muscle building in my life, and I never have to build my muscles ever again. So I make sure that I can succeed and become everything I can be, because you understand, I never have to work my muscles anymore, because guess what, I have it in the moment, although it's an option. I leverage a way for me to find that my body weight, my body mass can be this way, although what's most important is that I help people anyway. You understand? I help people in some kind of way. And I just stick with that. And I never have to lift muscles. I never have to lift iron or anything like that. I promise you that's weight and everything off my shoulder to be able to go and do what I need to do to succeed even more in what I must succeed in. I promise you once I succeed in that, I'll then go and start building muscle. Understand? So what did I replace in that moment? I replaced marketing with muscles, because I figured that it's much more important for me to market right now and become more in terms of attention than to market my muscles and become bigger. I mean, it's a trade-off, although I'd rather market and become more of a celebrity and more of somebody in the world who's helping educate people, such as Tony Robbins, although I'm much better than yesterday, and I never compete with Tony Robbins, you understand? I'm never competing with the guy, although you understand that I'm a life coach also, and we are all equal. I treat everybody as my equal, because guess what? I only treat myself as superior to yesterday. In a sense, so I'm always a person who never looks at you in a way to kick you down. I only look at you in a way to lift you up, because I'm lifting myself up and I treat you how I treat me. I promise you when you treat others how they treat you, or when I treat you how you treat me, I promise you that's delusion. I promise you that is negativity, because you understand that 99% of the world is negative, and when you treat them how they treat you, you understand that you're negative because they're negative. And I never need you to be negative. I need you to be a person who's lifting. So treat yourself how you would love to be treated. Understand? So what does that mean? I mean, if you're growing, then you're going to treat people in that kind of manner, and you're going to grow them. You understand? So be that kind of person, and that's speaking. You understand? I mean, sometimes actions speak louder than words. So what does that mean? I mean, when you look at an Instagram where there's 50,000 photos of a person, and another person has yet to even get started, I mean, what's that saying? I mean, it's success and it's speaking loud. You understand? I mean, success that's speaking loud, and you can just see that. I mean, it's a silent confidence. You need silent confidence in life. So how do you get it? You get it through communication. You learn how to communicate. And the best way to learn how to communicate is to communicate more. And how do you do that? You start in your journal. You start slowly. You start little by little. Anything is a middle. You have to understand that today I went to Woolworths. I got myself coconut water. I mean, this one is a $2 bottle, and it's a nice, beautiful H2 cocoa water. And guess what? I love coconut, although I never drink and I never eat cocoa powder. You understand why? Because it's an antaboloid. You understand what that means? I mean, it's addictive. So you have to understand that anything that's addictive, you stay away from it. I got myself also lightly sparkling water with lime, and I realized that I love to drink carbonated water with lime and lemon. So no matter what, it's a nice vegan drink, and it really is just like a soda. I mean, it's just like a soda. I mean, it's just like a Coca-Cola without sugar. You understand? So there's carbonated water in it, and in Coca-Cola there's carbonated water. You have to understand that in Coca-Cola there's artificial colors. I mean, it's heart disease. You understand? You stay away from it, please. And you have to understand that no matter what, that once you stay away from certain things and places and energy, time consuming, once you stay away from time and energy consuming activities that are negative, so that way you will be more positive. And guess what? When you're a person who sticks around nightclubs, for example, and you be there for 8 hours, I promise you that's energy. You're there for 8 hours. I mean, you're walking around, you're with your friends. I promise you, you're with your friends. I promise you, you're with your middle class friends. I promise you that they're never really your friends. I promise you, they're just there because they have a common goal and interest with you to pick up women or to drink alcohol or to do drugs. I promise you, that's the common interest. I promise you, that's why they're with you. You understand? Because that's why they were with me, because I was there to pick up women and we went to pick up women. You understand? I mean, we're never there for each other. You understand? And I was never there for them. I promise you, they were never there for me. So you have to understand that people are going to go their separate ways. And guess what? I'm never here for you either. You understand? I'm here for something greater. You understand? I'm always doing something greater. I never do this for you. I never do it for anybody in this world. I never even do it for me. I do it for something greater. I never even live for myself, guys. I live for something greater. I don't live for myself. I would kill myself. You understand? I live for something greater, and that's why I still live. I cannot even explain what God is. You understand? Because God can never even be explained, although I can. I can do anything. I can do anything, although you have to understand that God can never be explained. You can never explain this world. You can never explain what this is. You can never explain that this is lightly sparkling water because it said so. I promise you that you don't know what that is. I promise you this can be a magic drink. I promise you that this can be something different. I promise you this can be the sun. You don't know what that is. Although they call it and label it, and I promise you that when you label something such as a phone and a paper or something that you can touch or air, I promise you that you don't know what you're saying, although you're labeling it like you know something. You understand? Because you know nothing in this world. I promise you, everything you've been taught, you've been a person who thought about that aspect of life is something, although your thoughts are an entity, and your thoughts are never your thoughts. You understand? You're never your thoughts. You're getting thoughts on inside of you all the time. So guess what? To make sure that you're always a person who realizes what you're doing in life, be in the moment. And once you're in the moment, make sure that you recoil. Recoil yourself. And what does that mean? I promise you, recoiling means go inward. When you're going inward, you're going to recoil and you're going to self-reflect. Because recoiling, I realize that recoiling means to self-reflect and to be in retrospect. So be a retrospective person in a way that you're recoiling and you're being a person of high integrity. You have to understand to take your time, and there's all the time in the world for you to do everything. So be a person who's really conscious about videos and what you're doing on a daily basis, and set yourself up for success. When you're reading, you're going to be much more interesting than those people who never read. I promise you that people who have more information are more aware. So when I read, I never leave. I'm always in this moment. When people read and they read 500 levels of books, I promise you they have 500 levels of awareness. And that's 500 levels of happiness. I promise you when people never read, I promise you they got no happiness. I promise you it's much greater for you to go and compound and put the work in, because guess what? There's no shortcuts to success, and you have to grow. You understand? So the only way you can read 500 books is to start with the first chapter. And you read the first chapter. You do it little by little. Anything is a little. You have to understand that I have 390 posts inside my Instagram, and guess what? I have 397 posts on my Instagram. I am never correct. I know nothing in life, although guess what? I'm still growing. And guess what? My numbers exceed me because I'm something greater than numbers. So in order for myself to realize that there is something greater, I need to do something greater. So no matter what I'm doing in life, I'm always making sure that whatever I do in Instagram and inside my life, I'm always looking inside. I never care about what's happening out there after 6 p.m. because out there is cold and it's 12 degrees outside. And I don't know anybody in Brisbane. I don't even know anybody outside there. I know myself more though. I don't know the person I was, although I know myself more every single day. You have to understand, every time you say you don't know yourself, you've lost. Make sure that you know yourself every time. Make sure you always know yourself about who you are. Because you have to know yourself. You know yourself in a way that you're growing more though. I promise you that in the Bible it says know thyself. So I was a person saying I don't know myself. I do know myself. You understand? I do know myself to a certain extent. And the more I grow, the more I get to know myself. I used to say that I don't know myself because I'm growing more. You understand? And because I'm growing more, I find out more about myself. I'm just a person who knows nothing. You understand? I know nothing. You have to understand, because of that, you have to understand, you just keep going and you never lose your eye in the first place. Those people who lose their eye are people who never really succeed. The eye is everything. And when you use your eye, you're always going to never die. You understand? Because in the word die, there's an eye. You understand? And you never lose it. You never lose that eye, because eye is everything. I can do everything. I love you. So use it more often. And when you're in your journal, just talk about I. I love this. I love that. I'll go here. I have this in my heart. I have this in my heart. I have this inside me. And you just speak your I intent all the time. I call it the I factor. In a sense, so in life, people are going to be around you. And you have to realize that it's a communication game. So I realize that no matter what you do, is you be a better person and communicate better with them. I mean, never stay with the same crowd, please. I mean, leave them. I mean, move around. I mean, go somewhere new, please. And realize that you never need to speak with people ever again. I realize that what you need to do is speak with yourself more often. You need to speak with yourself because you don't need people in this lifetime. You need something greater than people. You need something greater than people. You don't need people. You don't need people. You need freedom. And I promise you, freedom is never people. You need wisdom. You understand? I promise you, wisdom is never people. You understand? I promise you, wisdom is something much more. And you have to acquire more of that. You have to understand that wisdom is something that you can chew on and it will satisfy your eyes. I promise you, it's one little bit, an aspect of hologram. I promise you, it's a hologram. And it's much more than a hologram. I mean, you can even explain wisdom. And wisdom is something that you hold and you will cherish it because it's so much gold. I promise you, it's so much of God's heart. And it's just so pleasurable. I mean, once you're holding it, you just feel the pleasure and you can eat from the same apple. You can eat from the same apple and live on that all your life. You understand? Because that's how treasure looks like. You understand? Because that's what harmony is. I mean, that's what abundance and life that breathes through you right now. You have wisdom. So what you need to do is you need to use it every single day. You need to be a better person for it. You need to be a person who's a wisdom worker. I mean, go and find out wisdom and go and learn everything about wisdom. I mean, wisdom is everywhere. I mean, wisdom is in this world. And you have to understand that no matter what, that wisdom only comes from inside. You can only get it from sources in books, and also you can find it in music. You can find it from inside. You have to understand that you go and find it, and you live it, and you live by it, and you teach it. Because wisdom is this video, and everything I'm speaking is the wisdom inside it. Promise you, the way I look is wisdom also. Promise you, this world is wisdom. You understand? You can always describe the world in wisdom. You understand? Because wisdom is what eternity is. And in the wisdom is the Jesus. I promise you, in the wisdom is the God. So the more you speak God intent, is the more you speak the wisdom behind God. Because what God is something that you can never explain. Although you would understand that those people who have communication skills are able to look in terms of their certain criteria of wisdom and expose it. And the more you expose the wisdom, you can really dive into the mindset and psychology and philosophy and historic behavior of humankind, and you can really dwell and you can find every single particle of everybody, and you can find out exactly what happened in the world through the wisdom alone, and you can understand the world at your age right now. I promise you, a little baby can understand it. Understand? Because we're all babies. I promise you, a little baby that you see that's just born looks like me today. I'm just born. You understand? I'm born because you understand that I'm feeling better than ever. I'm feeling much greater. I'm feeling a person who is Super Saiyan 4 like Goku in Dragon Ball Z, because I look at my wisdom and I just give it. I give it freely because it's a free, unconditional love. And you need to be that type of person. You need to be a person who looks into your wisdom and you're looking inside for it, and you just give it. 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 I promise you, it's like a heartbeat. You just give more of it. Understand? And that way you're clarifying for people to do the same thing, although you're doing it for something greater, and you're increasing the interest of return. And what does that mean? You're increasing your profit. And the profit is that the more you connect your dots together, the more wisdom you create. And the more wisdom you make, you become more of a wisdom worker. And that way, you realize that eventually you're very wise and you're having a much richer lifestyle, and you have all the wealth and ability that you need to succeed, and you're digging into your wisdom much more. And then guess what? You're always managing to do something better for yourself. And that way you dig in and you let go. You let go and you let God. And that way you let God, and your God will say, no matter what, you go and teach the wisdom. And then you teach more wisdom. You realize that no matter what, the wisdom will set you free. I mean, wisdom is truth. And those people who use it are the ones who can communicate, and are the ones who have started. So you need to start first, and you need to realize that if you can walk today, and if you can breathe today, and if you drive a bike and you lived up to a certain point in your life, I promise you can live more and more. I promise you can teach more and more. I promise you can do whatever you need to do. You just need to find new ways of communication. You need to find new ways of dealing with habits and what you're doing. And I promise you that you use your mindset and be a better person for it. Because no matter what happens, you need to be in the zone. And the zone is inside. And when you're a person who's living inside, you're never looking in the outside and what's happening out there. You're looking inside and you're figuring out a better way for yourself to live. And then once you're a person who lives better and better and better and better and times X 10,100,000, you understand no matter what, you're living better than people. I promise you people will start noticing and they're going to give you money. I promise you they're going to give you fame. I promise you they're going to give you attention. I promise you that you'll be a celebrity. I promise you that you'll have everything you ever need. I promise you that you'll be a person traveling the world, and guess what? You'll create more attention. And then guess what? You use the money, you put it more into marketing, and you inspire more people. And then it's a rotative game, because what you did was you're just giving the wisdom, and you are increasing your lifespan, because the more wisdom you have, the more wisdom you have. So you have to understand that when you live longer, you have more wisdom, and you just keep giving the wisdom, and the more wisdom you give, the more you teach yourself how to live a greater life. And then your I intent, which is your I factor, increases with the wisdom, and then you become more confident, because the greater I you have is the greater wisdom you have. So be a person who can really go and foundationally give all this wisdom into the world, and just be able to really capture it and be able to really give it. You give it and you understand to look inside of yourself for it. And then once you're looking inside for it, you're going to find new ways of dealing with life. You're going to be a person who's looking inside, and you're going to be grateful for the spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm is something in the wisdom. And then you're speaking from the wisdom intent. And then once you're looking in the wisdom, you're going to find that this world is just one particle. And this world is everything that you cannot expose, although you can. And you have to understand that this world is something greater. And this world over here is something that's going to help you succeed. So be a person who can really find the interest in your ability. And you can really speak like this. You can really find your accommodation inside of yourself. So your accommodation is really something in your body, and you have to live in it. And once you live in it, you open the door to everything. And once you open the door to everything, you realize that you let go. And once you let go, you realize that you allow life. And now, life can attack you. Life can penetrate you and bash you and be violent with you and kill you. Although you let it and you allow it, because you see Jesus allowed it. And many people attack Jesus and whipped him and everything. And guess what? Jesus never fought back. You understand? So that's an inspiring story. And guess what? Jesus was never angry about it either. I promise you that Jesus never reacted. And that's how you need to live. You need to be a person who never reacts to people whipping you with barbed wire and also penetrating your legs with nails and nailing you to a cross. You have to understand that you never react. I promise you that you never react, because Jesus never did. You understand? So be a person who is very inspired by Jesus Christ, and realize no matter what, that you go and live in your heart soul. I realize no matter what, I can feel Jesus inside the wisdom. I can feel the Holy Trinity in my mouth. I realize that it's something so beautiful and it's so tasteful to be able to go into yourself and to go into the wisdom, because you are the wisdom, and the wisdom is the soul. And then once you're connecting in the soul, I promise you, you're connecting from a different dimension. And I promise you that dimension is a spiritual realm. And I promise you, when you're going into that realm of where that pure essence is of life, you're going to find much more ways to speak and to communicate from that essence. And that essence is something that's going to awaken you. And that essence is really inside the body that you have. So when you're looking for it, you're looking for a way to look inside. You only open doors, and you realize that you only give love in this world. You only give away to get away. And you never even get away. You have to understand that you never get away. All you're really doing is really opening doors. You're opening doors for people to become more aware and conscious. And that's what a spiritual leader does. And that's what a life coach does. I promise you that those people who can life coach are the ones who can go into the journey of what's inside this wisdom. And then once you're looking at the wisdom, you're going to find your true heart's calling. And the true heart's calling of your life is to find your soul. And your soul is so beautiful. And it's something that you can find in the wisdom. And you understand that the wisdom of Jesus Christ is your soul. So you are connected right now with Jesus Christ in the spiritual realm. You will understand that no matter what, that in this life is a zone. And in this world, that we are only living in bodies. I promise you that we are already in a spiritual realm. Although part of our souls are in this world, you understand? So what happens is that when you die, you never feel it. You never feel yourself dying. And what happens is you'll be raised and you'll never even know you died. You understand? So you have to understand that when you don't know, you never die. You understand? Because those people who never die are people who grow. You understand? So you grow in a way that you can find your wisdom, and you're going to be inside for it. You're going to be inside, and you're never looking outside, because outside there's no wisdom. I mean, there's no wisdom in the nightclub out there. You understand? I mean, there's no wisdom. I mean, there's no wisdom in the pub in your local area. I mean, there's no wisdom in your neighbor's house. I mean, there's no wisdom anywhere outside of you. I mean, there's no wisdom in the TV. You understand? I mean, you have to understand that there's only wisdom inside, and wisdom only comes from inside your body. So you look there for everything, and you solve your problems from that moment. And you're looking inside, and once you look inside, you're looking to find what you need, and you're finding everything and the tools and the structures of your life, and you're singing a melody inside of that. And then once you sing a melody, you're going to find that you're speaking a different tonality now, because why? You're looking in the spiritual dimension, and you're using yourself to your advantage, and you're really speaking what you really need in terms of spirituality. So it's a nice, beautiful subject to really speak about, and it's one of the greatest ones. And you have to understand that it's life itself. And you have to understand it's really your heart essence, what this wisdom is. And your heart is the soul. So be a person who can really connect inside of this soul system that you have, and realize that it's a nice, beautiful structure for you to speak really intently with yourself. So you have to understand that you need to go and practice Taoism. You have to practice being in the moment, and you have to practice meditation to get there. And it's called Nirvana also. You have to understand that those people who can find Nirvana can find wisdom. And you have to speak from this spiritual dimension, as Dr. Wayne Dyer has. I promise you that you go and read what Dr. Wayne Dyer is, and in terms of life, go and read his books. I promise you that you go read his books, and also there's Osho. So you understand that these two categories can really teach you so much. And there's Eckhart Tolle also, who can teach you a lot about the spiritual realm, and also Neil Donald Walsh can teach you about the spiritual realm. And these are my mentors. You'll understand that they also go inside for this nice, beautiful gold, and they find it and they teach you about it, and you understand that you'll learn more about it, and I'll teach you more about it. You understand that you're connected, and you have to understand in life there's always life skills and what you must do. Although you have to understand that those people who are really foundational in what they're doing are really looking inside for it. And when you're looking inside, you're really dwelling in a way that you're finding the words to say, although the words are in the wisdom. And once you're in the wisdom, you're going to find everything that you need. You're going to find the wisdom in terms of ideas, and in terms of melodies, and in terms of symphonies, and in terms of sing-alongs. You'll have to understand that you have everything. You have everything inside of you. So be a person who can really find what you need and speak more about what you have. So speaking more about what you have is really the gratefulness that you have. I promise you, gratefulness means growth, and it's really the skills and the wisdom you have. I promise you, it's your story. So when you're speaking your story much more and more and more, you're going to realize that more wisdom will come out of you. And then what you have to do is you have to connect words with words, and it's like a puzzle. So when you're a person who is playing a game of numbers or any type of word games or anything like that, you realize that you need to go and connect the words. Like, for example, words with friends. You go and connect the words together. And why are you connecting those words together? Because it relates to each other. And then now, because it relates to each other, you're connecting the dots, and you're figuring out that certain words go with certain words. And then as soon as you're doing that, you become more aware of how to speak and how to communicate. Although you have to read faster, and you have to be a person who's really looking inside more, and be a person who's really teaching yourself you're teaching yourself more foundational ways in order to speak. And you can also use the mind and go inside. I can use my heart alone. I can just use my heart alone and go inside. I can use my emotions. I can do this. I can be moving around with my emotions, and I can do Tai Chi very slowly and be able to go inside. And I can do this at the park, and I can make sure I can breathe, and I can totally let go. I can totally let go and have no tension in my body. And these are 6 techniques already I taught you in terms of life and how you can really live life. You have to understand that exercise is another way to meditate. So realize no matter what, that you're always walking in daily life. You need to walk, and you need to realize that no matter what, that even when you're sleeping, for example, what I use is delta sounds and brave sounds to make sure that I can sleep, because sometimes when you're around hostels in Australia or anywhere across the world, or anywhere across the world, you may have people in your hostel, and you may be a person who booked a 16-bedroom or a 50-bedroom or a 4-bedroom dorm or a 1-bedroom dorm, and you may have people banging doors outside, and you may have people around you talking because you're in a hostel, or you may be a person who's a single person who is in a single room, and you may have people blocking in terms of blocking your sleep, and there may be people banging doors and putting on loud radios and snoring next door. You have to understand that you go and put something in your ears, and you put a white noise, you put a nice rain sound or waterfall or crickets or something like that, and you go and listen to it. I realize that delta sounds and something like and something that's really blowing into my ears, you understand? Because that way, when it's blowing into my ears, this shh, I hear nothing while I sleep. I only hear the shh sound with a nice bass line. And because of that, I get to fall asleep really quickly. And because it blocks everything outside of me. And people may be blocking doors and whatever. I never hear them. You understand? Because that way, I never care because I'm sleeping. Although you understand that it blocks the sound. So you go and use this nice, beautiful life technique, and you may realize that your dad may be doing the grass, in terms of he may be mowing the grass, and he turns on the machine and he wakes you up after you've slept 3 hours. You understand? So you go and put the nice, beautiful headphones on, or anything that you can have. I use my earphones because I've been using my headphones before and I snapped them before, and I never need to snap these ones. So you have to understand that's a life skill taught you also. So make sure you're using earphones, and I use ones that are really cabled ones, because the ones that are, I promise you, the ones that are Apple ones that have no cables, which are Bluetooth, I have fake ones, I have fake Bluetooth ones, and I have the fake Apple ones, and it really looks like Apple ones, so I have the great deal, because no matter what, I see what they are. Once you get the fake ones, I promise you it's the same thing, although it's just much more affordable, and also you realize that it's the same thing. You have to understand that you still look like you're a person who has Apple earphones. You understand? So be a person who really gets the better deal, and go and experiment with that, and be a person who really, let's say, has a drink. For example, you need a drink and you're a vegan and you have no way of, let's say, drinking anything. I promise you can get yourself sparkling water with lime or lemon, or you can get yourself Coca-Cola. I promise you never get yourself Coca-Cola powder. Get yourself coconut water, and I promise you it does help, and it's a nice, new, beautiful gesture for yourself to really live life. And why is this important? Because you have to understand that eating and drinking something healthier is also speaking intent. And I promise you that when you're able to keep your weight off for a certain period of time, in terms of you're able to lose weight in terms of 47 kilos and keep it off for 2 years and you still look good, I promise you that's speaking louder than words. So be a person who can really be communicative in your daily life, and look into yourself. Look into yourself for a new way of communication all the time, because the more you look into yourself, the more confident you're going to be about communication and spirituality and what you're talking about. Because those people who really, let's say, are foundational in what they're saying are really connected into the spiritual realm. So be a spiritual person and read spiritual books and look inside for it. Look inside for what you need, and that way you're going to find more words to say. And once I promise you, once you're using more new words to say, you're going to be a person who's really, let's say, increasing your consciousness, and you're going to be a person who can speak, and you're never interrupting anybody, and you're really listening. And that way, once you're listening, you're really in the moment, and you're living in the moment because you're in the body, and you're paying attention in terms of you're investing attention. You're never paying attention, you're investing attention. You're never paying attention to anything, because paying attention means that you're paying something, like you're paying a price. And I never need you to say I need you to understand that you're paying the price, although you're never paying the price with me. You have to understand you never pay the price. You only invest in the price, and you only invest in the price in me. And what's the price? The price is that I teach you wisdom, and that is what I'm giving you here in terms of my life experience and what's inside of me is all of these ideas. And now you have to be able to be a person who's capturing them, and you have to capture every single thought that I give you. And you have to understand that sometimes you understand that I gave you so many ideas, and you have to sometimes repeat the video as many times as possible in order to capture the video. So you understand that no matter what, you be a person who's moving on and be a person who's going in the new trend of life. So what is the new trend? You have to understand the new trend is something that's really going to grow you, and the new trend is always in the fashion. So be a person who's fashionable, also be a vegan fashion. In a sense, be a person who's totally new, and I promise you that every single particle of my clothing is either cotton or elastic or elastine or something like that, and it's got nothing to do with anything of leather nature and animal nature. Do you understand? So I have no fur, I have no wool, and I have no leather, and I need no non-human animals around me, and I need no human animals around my clothing. You have to understand that no matter what, I need nothing in this world except something greater. You need to be a person who's really dwelling in yourself. So dwell in yourself, you always find something to speak about, and inside is a gold mine. I mean, you can find gold mines, you can find something incredible, and it's really your way of speaking in nature and really getting to know yourself more. And you can only do this on video, you can do it also on audio tapes, and you can do it via your journal and quotes. You can do it via a live seminar, and make sure you tape yourself while you're doing make sure you're taping yourself while you're doing your live seminar. I apologize, Danny. And because you're taping yourself, I promise you that night where you're giving this seminar or public speaking seminar, I promise you that every single word will be captured, and you're not wasting your time because you're going to help more people with that. You have to understand that each and every video that you make, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, make sure that you go and create an audio version as well. So in my Samsung phone, I have a UCut application which exports this video, and I make it a 320 pixel video, and I put it on medium size. And why medium size? Because it's more than enough for you to see my face, and it's more than enough for me to upload, and it's really quick. I mean, I upload it within 10 minutes, and when I do it on 2000 HD, I promise you it takes me 3 hours. I promise you I'm more time effective when I do it on 320 pixels because I only need it for my lifetime. Understand? So when I'm a person who does it for my lifetime, and I promise you that 320 pixels is always going to be 320 pixels, and you're always going to see my face anyway. You understand? So I promise you there's always going to be MP2 around, and I promise you there's always going to be MP3 around. I promise you that no matter what, you can always listen back on it. I promise you, because the technology is made. So no matter what, you'll see all these phones and technology and Nokias and whatever. I promise you they're all going out of style, although they're still going to be in style forever. You understand? I promise you they may look old, although you understand that technology does progress, and you understand that there's always going to be a better phone than iPhone as well. I promise you there's always going to be a better phone out there. You understand? Because technology is progressing. I promise you that what seemed the iPhone 1 in 2004 is nothing compared to the iPhone 11. You understand? So I promise you when the iPhone 50 comes out, I promise you that's going to be a beast. I promise you that's going to be something beyond this world, because it can be HD. I promise you it can be graphics. I promise you there can be something amazing coming from those phones. So you have to understand that no matter what, you just go and be a person who can get a phone and capture yourself on camera and speak. I mean, speak about your life. I mean, speak about your brother or sister. I mean, go give some stories. I mean, go give bedtime stories. I mean, go and teach kids. I mean, go and be a person who starts somewhere in life. I mean, start teaching something that's going to be either spiritual, or you can go and teach something that's going to be, let's say, anything that's interesting in your life. You can teach about surfing. You can be a surfing coach. You can be something of a life coach. You can be a lifeguard. You can be a lifeguard coach. You can coach people how to swim. You can coach people anything. You just have to learn what you are interested in, and because you're interested in soccer, you can go and teach people how to play soccer, and you can teach them exactly how you need to do it, and then you demonstrate it too. You understand? So you be a person who really is just interested, and just keep going, because when I keep going in terms of life, I realize in terms of life, I see myself going in terms of my modeling career, and many people in terms of India are really laughing at me. I mean, 30 of them, and over 30 of them are laughing at me, and they're saying, I promise you, if this guy is a model, I'm Picasso. I'm better than Picasso. And no matter what, you understand that some guy said that. And you understand that no matter what, you just realize that they laugh at me, and I never care. I never care that they laugh at me, because guess what? I overtake them because I have so much more knowledge and wisdom than them that I never laugh at people. I never laugh at people. I never laugh at them. And I promise you that all these people that are laughing at me, I promise you they got less than 20 photos on their Instagram. I promise you that Instagram is private. I promise you some of their Instagrams are private and some of their Instagrams have 2 photos. I promise you some of their Instagrams have no bio link. I promise you they have no link. I promise you they have no website. I promise you that most of them do say hi in terms of India because I go and I advertise to them. Although most of them are saying hi and have no value. I mean, they have nothing to give me, although they're saying hi, and I do respect it, although you understand that no matter what, I have more time in my day when I never reply, because I have no need to go and start speaking with people who ask me, where are you from? And what do you do? And all of this, because you have to understand that they can see what I do. I mean, they're asking what I do when they can see it. I mean, you have to understand, when I put Croatia, Serbia, and Australia in my flags, and you have to understand that I never label anything, although you have to understand that it's just made up. I mean, this life is made up. And you have to understand that many people are going to ask you questions. You have to understand that I've got nothing against India. Although, when people are just criticizing you, you have to understand that you be a person who just never cares about them. You understand? You just make sure that you move on. Because you understand that you have to understand their egos are really trying to determine your life. And their egos are criticizing you. Understand? I've had women say to me, why are you posting these photos? I need you to take them off. I mean, why would I take photos of myself off the internet? You have to understand that no matter what, you need to be a person who's never into the crowd. I never need you to be into other people. I need you to be into yourself. I need you to be going inward and forget them. I mean, forget those people. I mean, when I went to Brisbane today and I was giving out my business cards, I realized it's really difficult. I realized it's really difficult to go up to a person and they reject you. I mean, they're signaling they're going to reject you 5 meters from you, and you put out your hand to give them your business card, and they say no. You understand? I promise you, I already had about 20 of those today. And guess what? I said I was trying some new. I was trying some new stuff. And I said to myself, although was trying this, I tried to. I really did it. I didn't try. I went to them and I just never even spoke a word. I just said, I never spoke a word, and I was giving my business card, and one person grabbed it, although about 20 of them and 25 of them rejected me. You have to understand that I was just a person. I lifted my hand. I never said a word. First they judged me. First they judged me because I was giving something out, and they never asked me what I had to give. I promise you they were never interested. I was looking good though. I promise you they're looking fat. I promise you they're looking ugly. I promise you this other guy was looking at his wife in this manner, like she was about to grab my business card, and then this guy turned around and he's looking at her with these eyes like, you're gonna do that? I promise you that I was like, I don't care, because I just move on from these islanders, you understand? So I never care, because you have to understand that they are unaware of what they're doing. You understand? And I don't care. I've got nothing against that guy, because I'm just a person who's moving on. And you have to understand that every nationality has a problem. Although you have to understand, I have no problems. I have no problems because I solve it. You have to understand that you have no problems when you solve them. You understand? And I never need you to have a problem either. I need you to realize that you go and solve your problems. I do. And it's really a magician's work. I promise you, it's a magician's work to be able to go into the wisdom that you have and solve it. I mean, solve it and explain it and really say how to do it. You understand? And then go and do it. I mean, do it and make sure that you're preaching what you do. And that way, when you're preaching what you do, you can always be a foundational person of what you're doing. You can always be courageous. You can be something special in the world. I promise you, when people never call you special, I promise you that's because they're never special. I'm special. I'm a special person. You understand? I'm very special in life. I'm giving free knowledge. I'm better than yesterday. I'm very special. Because when I wasn't special, I never took care of myself. You understand? So be a special person in a way that you're living life. I mean, be a better special person. You understand? Be a person who's really encouraging yourself to break other people's ideas in a better way. And be a person challenging even me and other people about what I say. Because when you challenge me about what I say, you're going to grow also. You understand? Because you have to question people. You have to question everything. You have to question me. You have to question what's said. And when you don't like a certain saying, you break it and you make it your own. You understand? And how do you do that? You paraphrase it in your own way. And when you break ideas, I promise you that when somebody has an idea, you credit those ideas, although you make another one in a similar fashion. And I have 23,000 quotes, and they're all my quotes. I promise you other people have done them, although I've paraphrased it in my own way. I've written it in my own way. You know, so it's unique. I mean, I taught it in my own new way, in my own words. You have to understand that my words is expanding because the more videos I do and the more I put myself in camera and audio tapes and also journaling and my quotes, I promise you it adds up. I promise you eventually I'll be doing even greater as I turn the page, and I realize that no matter what, every day I turn the page, I start a new chapter, because every day is a new beginning for me, and I only do it for something greater. And I realize I only do it for this moment, and in this moment is just one chapter. I have one chapter in life, and it's my beginning. And I'm always beginning, and I'm always growing, and I'm always a person who's really simplifying everything I say, because there's always a better way, guys. I mean, there's always a better way in what you need to do. I promise you I've come a long way, and if you believe in what I've said in terms of my wisdom, I promise you that you can see it. I promise you can see my wisdom. I never need you to follow me. I need you to follow something greater. And what you need to realize is you need to be a greater version of yourself. And I'm the best version of myself ever. And I can teach you how to be the best version of yourself. And all you need to do is just tune in to every single video. You need to watch every single video, because each and every time you watch a video from me, I promise you I teach you more and more about how to live life. So I waste your time in no manner. I never waste your time. I have a manner that's always greater than yesterday. I'm always doing something greater that's going to really lift me. I'm always conscious of what I'm saying, and I'm always more of a person who gives the wisdom and never expects anything in return, because wisdom is everything, and I generate my own profit. I generate my own business revenue. I generate my own passion and glory and growth. I have everything inside wisdom. I am a person who pats myself on the back every single day, and I'm always respectful of myself and my integrity and what I do, because guys, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself every day, and many people will never love you and never care about you, and you have to understand to do what that billionaire said, and I forget his name, although you have to understand I'll remember it, and he owns the Alibaba. You can go and check him out, and he says that in order for you to become a billionaire, you have to go and fail more before you hit 30. You understand? You fail more and more. You understand? You go and fail more and more and try more. I mean, he goes and says that you must try and do more to fail and learn from it. You understand? And that way, I do what he said, because that's the best way. And the best way is to go and do more and more and more, and you'll find out what works. You understand? Because when you're doing more, you find out how to succeed more and more. So those people who are never doing more and more, and they're just standing still, I promise you they never learn how to succeed more and more. Because they're standing still, and they're never trying to find out, and they're never seeking knowledge, and they're never on the offense about success. So you need to be a person who forgives, and I'm rich or better, and you say, I'm rich or better, and that way you're always releasing more tension, and you never have tension in your body. I mean, have a nice, beautiful sleep every single day. And how much sleep is enough? I mean, have enough sleep. You understand? I mean, enough sleep is enough sleep. So Brian Tracy taught me this, and he said sometimes 12 hours can be enough. I mean, sometimes 2 hours can be enough. I mean, sometimes a 1 hour nap is more than enough. I mean, sometimes a 5 hour sleep is more than enough. I mean, go and sleep until you need to. Understand? And be natural about it. And how do you be more natural? I mean, you let go of your emotions and you live in the emotions. I mean, you have to understand that emotions are everything. Although to become more natural, you have to write more, you have to speak more. So you have to be a person who's really, let's say, be in your comfort zone. You understand? So you never be in your comfort zone, you be in your uncomfortable zone. You understand? I promise you that you need to be in discomfort. You understand? You never be in your comfort zone. You understand? I apologize. Although you understand that no matter what, that this video is always going up. You understand? Because I'm always conscious of what I say, and I'm always leading you in a better direction. Because the better direction is a better way, and the better way is a better positive style. So the more you're positive about what you're saying and you're living it, you'll understand how to speak more positive throughout life. And as Zig Ziglar says, that positivity will get you further than negativity ever will. So speak positivity more and more, and that way you're going to be a much more ruthless person in positivity, and you're going to find a better way. And the better way is these videos and life, and make sure that no matter what, you're never chasing anybody. Make sure that you go and really, really dwell inside of you and really just be with yourself for a couple of years. And you have to understand that you go in trouble. You go in trouble. I had a person in the past who said, you must go in trouble, man. You must go in trouble. And guess what? 6 months later, I started traveling. I said, I will. I started doing it. I said to another one, I'll leave. I became independent. I'll start to travel the world. I did. Understand? And you have to be able to live up to it. When you say something that you will do it, you go and do it. You do it as fast as possible. And when you're saying that you need to world travel, you go world travel. I'm world traveling now. I just have to finish Australia. I promise you, once I finish Australia, I've got something better to do. I promise you, once I've seen Australia, and I've seen the main areas of Australia, I promise you, I can go elsewhere. I continue my life. I realize no matter what, that you go and leverage what you have. Leverage the country you have. Leverage the body mass you have. Leverage that you're single. Because those people who are never single and have kids are distracted more by their wife and kids than you would be single. So be a single person. Those people who dive into a family early on, you have to understand that they are the people who, let's say, are trading their legacy for a family. Understand? And because they have a family, they have no legacy. They're always going to be the crowd. And when you're single, go and leverage to be single until you're 36. Be single and work on yourself until you're 36. At least you're going to find someone at 37 and you're going to have 3 kids. You understand? By the time you're 40, you may even have 6 kids by the time you're 42. You understand? So you can still have kids until you're 45. So really leverage your age. You understand? Leverage your country. Leverage your communication skills. Go and drop off the other languages of your life. You never have to learn other languages. You can just learn English and what you have in terms of life. Learn English. And I promise you that, for example, I have to learn Chinese, I have to learn Spanish, I have to learn Arabic, I have to learn these other connotations in terms of other languages. I promise you, I never have to do it anymore. Why? Because I leverage what I have in terms of English. I'll just be an English person. I'll be Serbian and Croatian. I can speak that because I leverage that. And I have more time to succeed in that. I never have to do the other ones. Although it's interesting to go and speak Spanish and speak another language. Although, who am I going to speak with? Who am I going to speak German and Arabic and Spanish and Chinese with? It's different to go and learn the language. You have to understand, you have to go and speak it. You have to go do something in those areas. So it's really a challenge. Although you can go and challenge yourself, you just realize that you go and leverage. I have music production. I can say, I have to really work on myself. I have to make bigger muscles for myself. I have to get a six-pack. I've never had a six-pack in my life. I've never had massive muscles in my life. I've never made music like Armin van Buuren. I have these goals that I have to achieve. And those are my goals. I can fucking drop them off. I can say, fuck off. I'm just going to do life coaching. And guess what? I'll fucking be happier. I'll fucking have the body I have. Understand? Because guess what? You guys never fucking go for me in terms of the woman never go for me. I never fucking need kids. Guess what? I'll just create a nice, beautiful Nikola Tesla career. You understand? I promise you I'll be better. I'm always better than yesterday. I promise you that it's more that I never go towards Nikola Tesla path. I'll go something better than Nikola Tesla. You understand? Because you have to understand, I leverage even being single. I say in the next 3 years, I'll never have kids. Because guess what? I'm already planning ahead. And I never have to worry about kids. I never have to worry because I can always leverage what I have and never use it again. You understand? So I have a laptop. I will leverage it for some other means. Although you have to understand, I'm still doing music. I still have goals to have a nice, beautiful body. And although something may happen, I don't know. You have to understand that something's always happening. You understand? Although I make sure to grow. And you have to understand, I can always drop off the muscles all my life and never work on it ever again. Understand? And I will have so much more time to do something else. I can drop off the music and say, fuck off. And I'll say, I'll work on my life coaching videos instead. I'll do a time trade. So I'll go from music to my life coaching. I, at the moment, have my life coaching and my music production. I promise you I can cut off music production altogether and go to my life coaching, because my life coaching means more. You understand? So no matter what, I'm every day trading off. I today never even started my music production. Why? I mean, I did plan something in terms of my music, although I did 2 hours of video in terms of my life coaching today. So I'm doing my work every single day, and I'm doing up to 3 hours every single day, and I'm always staying positive about it. You understand? So I'm never feeling guilty, and when I fall, I understand I still have to reach a better way. I realize no matter what, that at the moment it's 10:30 in the evening. You have to understand that it's really this moment, and any time in life is this moment. You have to understand, you just be a person who's courageous. You be a person who's really living life in the moment, and you give of your life. You give what you have, and you give back. And you be a person who's really, let's say, moving around the world, and you're doing something of nature. You're doing something in terms of your nature inside of you. And you have to understand that you just be a person who's really looking to be a better person in the world. And as Dr. Wayne Dyer said, attitude is everything. So the better you improve your attitude, the better your gratitude. In a sense, no matter what, be a person who just can figure out a better way. Be a person who can really find what you need to succeed. Be a person who can really find who can help you. Be a person who can find who helped you. And you have to understand, it's really you who helped you. You have to understand that nobody else will help you. I'll give you ideas. I promise you that people will give you ideas. Although you have to pick them up and you have to apply it. And the way to apply it is to teach it. So you have to find out, how do you teach? And the only way you can start is in a journal, or you can start in an audio, or you can start in a video. So you can also start in a quote. You can start doing 1-minute videos. You can start doing journaling all day long. And you never have to show your face for 1 year, and you can just journal and journal and journal. I promise you that's eventually going to say, hey, you got to do a video now for 1 minute. And then what you do is you make 500 episodes of 1-minute segments. You teach something. You blah, blah. You say anything. You understand? I promise you that I'm not the ego, although you understand that you're just going to say anything for 1 minute. And you're going to teach anything for 1 minute. And each and every time you puff it in 1 minute, and I mean, you're positive about it and you're never doing drugs. When you're puffing it, you're really, let's say, you're expressing it. You understand? I'm speaking a better term because I'm not a negative person, and you have to understand, you only speak it and you express it for 1 minute, and that way you can realize that you can do more episodes. You're going to be more motivated, and in 1 year you can do 4-hour ones. I was able to do 4 hours, and I'm still able to do 4 hours. I can do more than that. I can do more than 4 hours. In a sense, so no matter what, be a person who can realize that whoever's watching me, you understand, you people need to realize to better yourself. Go and better yourself and better the world, please, because that's what Jesus did. In a sense, so have a nice, beautiful story to say, and go and speak it more and more in your journal and inside video and audio and in quotes. And be a person who self-educates, because I've been doing it for 2 years now. I've been doing it for 3 years now. Understand? I've been doing my book since the 25 years of age. I wrote Ultimate Road to Success at 25. You understand? So in that book, you have to understand, you have to go and read it, although I'll teach you here, you have to understand that those books are really going to teach you. And in that book, I really speak that you be sober, and that you get off the caffeine, and that you really overcome the ego, which is up here. You have to understand that you use your mind, and you overcome the ego, and never let the mind control you, and you live in your body. And it's more a spiritual way to, I promise you, it's more of a spiritual way to live, and gratitude and improving yourself, and it's all the chapters, and to overcome masturbation and pornography. So those are the skills in that book, and I'm still doing it. You understand? I'm still doing it. I'm still overcoming my demons, and my demons every single day are just to grow more. And I realized that my demons, I've overcome my demons, and I've really just understand. I understand that no matter what, I'm still growing. I'm still growing because my demons are never my growth experiences and never my skills. I promise you, my demons is the past. I run away from the past because I never need it. I run away from the past and I live in the moment. And I overcome the demons in this moment. So go and live a life that you can live more and more in this moment and be a person of high integrity and grace, because that's what's going to really get you forward. I now will say that no matter what, that you guys go and share this video. I'll also make sure that no matter what, you guys see me, guys. I promise that you guys see me in the next video, and I hope that you enjoy your day and have a pleasant one.